Thank you.
Oh, hi. Title. Let's take a look.
Oh, great.
Buster, what's up?
Blockbuster carries thousands of titles, but they're not all in every store. You could make this a lot easier on yourself, plus show your customers how to find almost any movie they're looking for. Got it?
Got it.
You got it? Where?
No, I mean, I've got a great idea. Have you ever seen our gigantic catalog called Video Log? It's got every movie title that's on video.
You mean there are more titles than what you have here?
That's right. Come on, I'll show you. Oh, here it is. Casino Royale. You know, if you ordered this today, it would probably be in by the end of the week. Then I could call you, and you would be the proud owner of the last movie with Sellers and Allen.
Fantastic. That's just what I need for my collection.
Oh, what movies do you collect?
Comedies. And I'm just starting a Peter Sellers series. I really don't know much about his films.
Oh, he's one of my favorites, especially in The Pink Panther.
Yeah.
Hey, why not consider renting Return of the Pink Panther?
Oh, I haven't seen that in years. Great idea.
Okay, I'll go get you a copy.
Okay. Just trying to get your attention.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd rather you stick with the whistle. What is it this time? I found the man his movie.
Yes, and you're still batting 500.
How so?
You remember? Listen, think, act?
Right. Peter Sellers comedy movies for rent.
Good. Now think again.
Excited to watch it when I got home, and I was okay with it. Not in love with it. Okay. This would have been my first disappointment in a film. Well, the first real one I'll talk about in a bit. Fuck it, we'll talk about it now. Clifford. fuck this fucking terrible movie. And I'm not talking about the one they're working on with the big red dog. No. I'm talking about the shitty movie from 1994 with Martin Short where he plays a trash 10-year-old and Charles Gray has to deal with this bullshit. Oh my God. I watched this movie and I knew immediately that this movie was terrible. Some of my earliest memories of like watching this. I remember when I saw this in theaters, I remember the popcorn was burnt. It's the first time I ever had burnt popcorn in a movie theater. Some people I know have defended this movie, and good for them, whatever, it doesn't matter. They're liars. Fuck you if you like this movie. Tangent over. The first visit to Blockbuster was nothing special because my parents signed up and it was in and out quick. But soon I learned that our store was massive. And there were genres I had no idea about besides for the Goonies and Nicktoons, sections called comedy, drama, foreign, employee picks, and video games. And a section I was too scared to go into until 1997, horror. But which we'll get to later. And I distinctly remember walking around one night with my dad's friends. I picked up a tape of comedy and said, Mark, you will love this movie. And I saw two guys on the cover. One of them I recognized and one of them not at all. And I put it back because I want to see Billy Madison again. Eventually, when I saw that movie, it would become one of my favorite movies from my favorite filmmakers, the producers. Gene Wilder has always and will always be an inspiration to the comedy nerd that I am. And as a Jew with unique hair would be an idol of mine. Well, Zero Mostel was a revolution to the theater and it's about to become. But this was in the future, like way in the future, like 4 years in the future, like way in the future. But my love of the store grew and grew. And instead of trying too hard to be cool, I would rent movies with my parents' permission. I would fall deep in love with all forms of comedy, like fell deep in love with Charlie Chaplin, and later that summer, fell in love with Jim Carrey. Okay, tangent time. Okay, so you guys want to hear my Jim Carrey story, right? Okay, cool. So, February 1994, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective comes out. All my friends see it. I'm not allowed to see it. Oh, that sucks. But in June 1994, it comes out on VHS, and I see it on sale in Costco. And I somehow convinced my parents to buy a PG-13 movie. Score! Yeah! They want to watch it first, of course, to make sure that's okay. And they watch the opening sequence. They see that's fine for 1994. And they say, I can watch it with them. And I start watching it with them, and it's hilarious. And he's breaking glass in the opening sequence. And it's silly. It's stupid. And it makes me laugh. And he saves the dog. And then he brings her back to the owner. And, well, she's cute. And she gives him his reward. And my parents are covering my eyes. They've never done this before. Like my mom is making noises to cover the sounds of the blowjob. And my dad, he's just like a deer in headlights. And eventually they come down and let me watch the rest of the film. Actually, they watch it with me the whole time to make sure nothing worse happens. I don't remember if they freaked out in the sex scene or not. But I grew up loving this film and wanted to be Jim Carrey so badly. I even dressed up as Ace Ventura, the Mask, a few times for Halloween. I rewatched Ace Ventura a little over a year ago, like 3 days ago, a year ago, in a theater. And guys, it is so funny for the first hour. And then it becomes a transphobic mess. Don't forget about the homophobia too. And this film has aged so terribly and made the whole theater I was in and I like incredibly uncomfortable for the last 15 minutes of the movie. Like no laughter at all for the last 10 minutes of the movie. But seriously, like fuck the last 15 minutes of this movie. But also, as much as it hurts to say it for a 9-year-old Mark, fuck this movie. All right, so in case you can't tell, this show will have many a tangent. Think of them as different parts of the Blockbuster journey with me. Okay, I'm going to like fast forward to when I fell in love with horror. It does involve Blockbuster, of course, as that was basically my life as a kid. Let's fast forward to June 1997. and I was granted my first official R-rated film to watch then, Con Air. Oh my god, I love that image so much. That GIF that week. Oh my god, I use it all the time as that week as a GIF. It's the best thing ever. The movie is still something I love so much. And later that month, a movie that I had wanted to see so badly since December came out on VHS. Scream. My parents let me rent a movie and order a pizza, and they were going to go out to a party of some sort, and they said bye, and I plopped the movie into the VHS player, and I sit down, and I watch it, and they get started, and Drew Barrymore gets a phone call, and they start referencing movies that, at this point, I've heard of some of them, but never seen, and then the phone rings. Like my actual phone rings, and I freak out, and the dog freaks out more, and I pick up the phone, and I'm convinced I'm about to die. Hello, I say. Hey, just making sure you ordered the pizza. My dad says, yep, I say, and I freak out, and end the conversation as quick as I can. Eventually, I start laughing, and my heart calms down, and I press play. And this is when she gets murdered. Spoiler alert for a movie that's 25 years old, but also look at that death. It's like the best movie death of all time. That's not rope she's hanging by. That's her intestines. Oh my God. Yeah. Eventually, my favorite character, Randy, gets introduced, and he works at a Blockbuster. Okay. He is funny and smarter than everyone else because he has seen things and is a movie nerd like me. Also, Jamie Kennedy vaguely looks like my idealized version of myself at this point in my life. Okay, this nerd is me. And he is my hero in the movie. And the movie ends, and I start to feel like I'm starting to feel like something important in my life, like something that matters. And as a lonely 11-year-old that wanted to be an actor so badly, this was incredibly formative for me. And the movie finishes, and I watch it again. First time that I ever watched an adult movie alone, and the first time that I ever watched a movie immediately afterwards. And Scream was my first favorite horror movie, and I chose to watch it immediately afterwards because it became a favorite movie of mine. That summer was incredibly formative for me and my love of movies. I would go to theater camp during the day, and coming back, I would go to Blockbuster or rent a movie. And I remember asking when they would get the John Leguizamo classic, The Pest In. Yes, I am well aware I'm one of like 5 people that's in this movie. And probably most guys have never even seen it until we saw the trailer. But as you know, I'm working on a solo show called Mark Levy Does The Pest in its entirety, hopefully minus the racism. Maybe coming through Zoom. I don't know what the is going to be like in a few weeks or months or years. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So I asked the employee how much it's going to be to buy it, and I'm going to watch it enough, so I might as well own it. And this is when I learned the phrase price to own meant, something that I had no idea about. He said it was going to be $189.99 for the VHS. Back then, not every VHS was priced to own, so we didn't buy The Pest. I never owned it on VHS. Then it came out on DVD, and I purchased it on DVD and realized I didn't love it as much as I thought I did after I seen that film more times than tickets have probably been sold to it. There comes a time in every young person's life when they have to decide, when they're finishing high school, they decide what they want to do to make some money. I respect sex workers a lot. I'm not one. This is not that kind of StreamYard video. Fun fact also, as you're probably aware if you know anything about Blockbuster, they don't really have like adult movies there. Whatever. This is called Blockbuster Guy. I'm not there yet. Hold your horses. We're almost there. Okay, so I started applying for my local Blockbuster when I was 17 years old while still frequenting. I always took the test on a little computer with the 50 questions, ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree, and I always passed the test. But I never got the interview. That sucked. But this was 2003, and the world was my oyster if I wanted to work in retail. There were so many options. I walked into my local Best Buy to buy the Indiana Jones trilogy on DVD, and so they were hiring for the holidays. Now, as frequently as I went to Blockbuster, I somehow went to Best Buy more. Every Tuesday, I would buy a DVD or two and a comedy CD, and I applied, and I got the call to take the drug test the next day. I never done drugs at this point in my life, and I was terrified that something terrible was going to show up in there, and I was so nervous, and I drove out to a strip mall in a different part of Miami, and I walked into the center, and which smelled sterile and exactly like piss at the same time. I waited for a few minutes. I took the test. I was afraid the poppy seed bagel I ate a few days before would show up as drugs. It didn't. Thank fuck. Woo! I ended up getting hired around Halloween in the media department. Now, this department used to be huge in Best Buys, like half the store. It's where they had the DVDs, the CDs, the video games, computer games, all the games. Now it's just a small section in every Best Buy I've been to. And we were well underway for prep for Black Friday. I feel like I don't need to tell you too much to set up Black Friday, but this was 2003, and everyone was buying everything in person. Like those scenes in the holiday movies when the doors open and like everyone floods in. It's like a fucking massacre of people. Well, this was 2003, and I was working at Best Buy. I showed up ready for war. I even had a power bar with me just in case. I had the closing shift for my first ever Black Friday, and it lasted 14 hours because essentially we had to clean up the whole store. And 14 hours in, my supervisor said, "Fuck it, we're done." And we all went home, and the store was still completely destroyed. There are so many more stories of my time at Best Buy in my life because I worked there both as a senior in high school and also as an adult in New York a few years ago for a few months. Again, this isn't that play. That's just some of my highlights from my magic working there at the peak of their time. All right, now we know where we're at. Yeah, I'm out of high school, and I started at Florida School of the Arts in Palatka in the fall of 2004. Where is Palatka, you still ask? The smell of where they make a quarter of the world's toilet paper is more than enough reason to skip the town. Don't even get me started on the immense racism. Like in Palatka, everyone is either a student and lived there for a few years or a local and never left the town because it's that part of racist redneck Florida. In Palatka, the thing to do on a Friday night was to go to Chili's and then Walmart, which was next to the Chili's. I wish I was making this up. But next to the Chili's was a smaller strip mall with a Radio Shack, a GameStop, a Chinese restaurant, and a Blockbuster. And I was quickly drawn to this Blockbuster like a moth to a flame. The store was newer than mine in Miami and smaller, but sleeker. And they just started the monthly rental program of rentals out where you pay a flat rate and you rent out as many movies as you want. This is like a precursor like MoviePass. Also, in case you don't know, back in 2004, Blockbuster had a very real opportunity to buy Netflix. Like, this is not a joke. Once this play is over, you can go online, type in Blockbuster Netflix 2004, and you'll see, like, everything. Like, could you imagine there's a world out there where Blockbuster gets 10 Oscar nominations just for the movie Roma? Of course, that we saw the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. We don't need that, do we? Whatever, tangent over. Okay, so in October 2004, I applied and I got hired on the spot for part-time work. And I was thrilled and excited to have a job at a place I wanted to work at for so long. I was finally an adult working at a Blockbuster Video. That feels so weird to say and was so weird to write down in the play. But as an adult who technically works at a movie theater right now, gay, furlough, whatever. We'll get to that later. Blockbuster Video made me who I am. Like, my manager who hired me, his name was Carlos. He's a good dude. Like, he was an ex-Miami person, moved to Palatka, found love, made a family, and opened a Blockbuster Video. He hired me and another guy the same day. And I remember orientation when he told us that we can rent 5 free movies a week, including things that are not even out yet on the shelf. And I got so excited because I saw they had copies of one of my favorite movies from 2004, Fahrenheit 9/11. I may have been one of like a few dozen people to rent Fahrenheit 9/11 in deep red Florida. Exciting times, y'all.
Hello, Mrs. Simpson. Hi, Marie. Marie, have you ever met my son, Douglas? Hi, Doug.
Hello, Marie.
So, looks like you have everything you wanted? Yes. But sometimes I just can't make up my mind. You have such a large selection. I know. We have over 6,000 titles in our store. Problem is, my husband, Richard, he just goes bananas if I spend more than $10 on movies. Of course, he spends that on fishing lures and never thinks twice about it. And I really wanted 2 more tapes. $10 limit. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just come in the store more often? You get 2 or 3 more tapes each week. That way you'd stay below your husband's $10 limit and you'd get to see more movies each month. You are so helpful and clever. Doug, isn't she sweet?
She's sunshine on a cloudy day.
Wow. I have no memory of watching that when I was like in training at all, but I feel like I might have. I don't know. I imagine like in 2004 that tape was there. It doesn't matter. Okay, so like that whole Be Kind Rewind thing? Well, we did a VHS rewinder at the store because in the fall of 2004, VHS is still around longer than you would ever expect at a Blockbuster. Like DVDs, when they came in, you just make sure it's there, you lock in, put it back on the shelf. For VHS, you open it up, make sure it's there, put in the rewinder, and wait. And wait. Still waiting. Here, it's almost done. Oh, okay, it's done. Shit, the tape broke. What do we do at this point when a tape breaks? Do we replace this old and dead technology? Nope. We just chuck it. It felt like we would check the Dropbox all day, and sometimes the most unique guest, let's call him Lewin. His name is more unique than Lewin, but we're going to keep calling him Lewin for the sake of this show. Lewin would show up, and he would talk your ear off. And the thing about Lewin is Lewin would have that unlimited movie rental plan with 3 movies out at a time for a flat rate. Lewin, I noticed, was always at the store. Lewin, one day I asked him, I'm like, hey, Lewin, you're watching all these movies so quickly. Huh? No, he said. Huh? I said, oh, I'm ripping them and selling them, he said. This is when I noticed that nobody really liked Lewin. There was so much more to Lewin, but we will get there later. Like, the biggest fear that anyone would have while working the Dropbox is that Lewin would show up and talk your ear off with his tales of brazen thievery. Screw it. Okay, so those FBI warnings you see like right there? Well, the FBI came and raided his house. I wish I was making this up, but there's few people I hated more than this guy because this guy fucking sucked. All right, so at this point of the play, I want to talk about my coworkers at a Blockbuster. And yes, every person that I mentioned in this play is giving me permission to at least use their first name, or I obviously change it, like Lewin. There was Carlos, my boss, whom we briefly mentioned earlier. He had the energy of, I'm tired of this bullshit and I don't want to be here. My brain couldn't comprehend that he was so tired because he had 2 kids under 5 at home. But for some strange reason, this guy intimidated me. He also told me to put the following part in the play, which will never not feel awkward to say. I am the best employee ever hired. So apparently I grew on him. There was a guy that he hired that day named Vince, who was a fun guy in his mid-20s, out and proud and threw the best parties in Palatka. There was Katie, spelled Cadee, the extreme local, who sounded like a waitress at a Huddle House. And she told me to put the following part in the play because she wants her voice to be like in a play. So I'm doing my best to do my impression of her. Hey, y'all, welcome to Blockbuster. Let me know if you need help. She was in high school when I met her and was the funniest person I ever met at that point in my life. And she was so obsessed with Napoleon Dynamite. She helped break the townie stereotype for me, which for a big city guy like me was a pretty big deal. There was a person called Nikki. She was about 5'5", about 100 pounds of pure anger and rage if anyone gave her lip or stole from the store. There was a guy that we'll call Ronnie, who was the best employee in the store until I came around. I helped get Kat, Skip, and a guy named Doug hired there. They went to my college, and I helped get them the job. And eventually, Vince's roommate, a girl called Judy, a fun gal about town that I developed a crush on quickly, and that fizzled fairly quickly after I had to clean her puke out of the store bathroom for the 3rd time on a Monday. On a Monday. She did apologize, though, on a Tuesday. As I said earlier, Ronnie was the big dog in the store until I started working there, and he walked in with the presence of royalty in Blockbuster. He was the guy who sold the most monthly rental subscriptions and rewards cards. Nobody liked him because he was a cocky asshole, but he was a damn good salesperson, and he always had his 20-ounce Code Red Mountain Dew by his side. Whenever he was on register, he commanded that line with simple gestures, minimal small talk, renting out people's movies after checking them with a rewards card and saying, "Have a nice day." He was the type that while on the clock, he ruled the store. Then his mother came from her shift at Subway to pick him up. Also, he was about 35 years old, so please do not imagine a kid. I have to set the scene for what was about to happen, okay? So after a few months of me doing all right, Carlos decided to sit me down and give me the skills to go from an okay salesperson to a great salesperson. Things I still use to this day. Things like listening. Listening is key. Being in a moment. Being open. Becoming friends with the guests. Stuff like that. Now, we eventually, after doing all this, I got the courage to sell the rewards card more. And it started happening more and more often. And with more frequency, we had a tally board at the store that Carlos would update daily. And eventually, I remember there was a day that I caught up with Ronnie on the rewards card. And he started picking on me as he realized that his time was nearing the end for a new king to dethrone him. You're doing good with the rewards card, but you won't with the monthly subscriptions. You won't, he said. I am one of the most driven people that you will ever meet. If you cross me, I will make you feel like an idiot. If you make me feel like an idiot, I will prove you wrong. If you challenge me, I will make you eat your words. This is true for who I am today, but this was even more true for me back then. Some fucker who sounds like Slim Jim is going to tell me to try harder. Sad 19-year-old virginal Mark is not going to take this lying down. In the next few weeks, I gained the courage to sell the monthly pass, and I listened to people, and I recommended the correct amount of rentals at a time that people would need. And guests already liked me a lot more than they liked Ronnie. And the day came where I beat Ronnie for sales for a week, and his voice quivered as he went to the tally board. I was sick. I didn't get my usual shifts this week. I was still very part-time and only working 3 days a week, and then I beat him again and again and again. I guess we need more good salespeople, he eventually stated. That night, he was stuck restocking the shelves. So I have a very specific nerdery that was cultivated in a Blockbuster. Horror and How I Met Your Mother. Horror was a genre that I always appreciated in theory, but was scared to watch, especially the vintage ones of the 70s and 80s. And I just remember there was one day when I was walking around the store and the guest came up to me and asked for a recommendation in horror. And I made a bold recommendation. And I knew who Wes Craven was because I loved Scream. And I made a recommendation partially because it was the closest thing to me. I recommended Last House on the Left, a highly controversial film about gang rape and murderous revenge. Vince was near me when that happened, and he said, see your horror before you recommend your horror. And I got to all the horror that I could, and I felt deep in love with Jason and Freddy and Michael, Chucky, Jigsaw, everything. And from that day forward, I would never recommend a movie without actually watching it first. For How I Met Your Mother, it was November 2006, and the friend-sized hole in my heart was still there, and I believe will always still be there, honestly. And I missed seeing young, fun 20-somethings bopping around New York City, something I always wanted to do, and I did in my 20s a little bit. But and I remember one day I was on my break and had some Chinese food. And I saw we had the DVDs for How I Met Your Mother in the back, and I love Jason Segel. And I put it in the break room, and I got cautiously optimistic in the series premiere. And then I watched the whole first season in 2 days, and I was hooked. And I never missed an episode since, even the ones I should have missed, like this series finale. Okay, so I could go on for so long, like 12 hours, about how much I hate the How I Met Your Mother series finale. Like, you guys do not want to see me like get all red-faced and scream for 12 hours. Like, honestly, like, just if you want that, then just donate like $2,000 to Frigid, and I'll probably do that too. I'll send you a video of that. But I have time to give like a sampler of that. Okay, so for How I Met Your Mother, How I Met Your Mother was incredible and it was great. Like, the show was always rich and the heart was always there. And the show used the internet for heightenings of jokes that were like not really readily available until then. Like, there's this one that I love so much still called www.theslapbetcountdown.com, which is a very real site that you can still go to that counted down until the second slap for the slap bet. And it's still there to this day, like 12 years later. And the showrunners always respected the fans. That was like the biggest thing about the show. They always respected the fans. They told us in the first episode that Robin was not the mother. Cool, okay, good hook. I'm hooked, great, okay. And then we finally saw the mother at the end of season 8. And Kristen Milioti, an actress that I adored, whom I loved so much of her off-Broadway work at that point, was hired to play the mother. Cool, okay. And the final season, her and Ted are always narrowly missing each other. Okay, what the fuck's happening here? Okay, so this is how it's going to go. Okay, I get it. Dramatic tension. Great, okay. And the final season, Ted gets a whole bunch of sadness because this is something that happens to people. We get sad. People get sad. We're all fucking sad right now. We're in a fucking quarantine. Okay, so Ted uh, he has so much sadness that final season, and then like they finally meets the mother in the series finale. Okay, they hit it off in the last episode, and then the fucking showrunners decided that they. Because people get sad. This is what happens. You get sad when you grow older. It's like that fucking happens. And because everyone, like every like thing starts to fall apart. Like Barney and Robin, who've been together for several years at this point, they start having a rough spot. And it falls apart. Oh, fuck you, creators. I can't believe what you're doing now. Okay, cool, okay. And this is the part that I cannot stand. The mother dies. Spoiler alert, but fuck you if you haven't seen the show. The show's fucking terrible. Like what they did, like they listened to fans like crazy until they stopped. Like the fans, we were past this bullshit of Ted and Robin. No, but the creators had this dumbass idea. They fucking had to use it. Oh my god. And like in the scene that we heard about for so long. So one of the things about the show is that future Ted is talking to his future kids in the future, and then the scene that they shot in season 2 before the kids aged out of the show happens, and oh my fuck you, they say to go to Aunt Robin. Are you fucking kidding me? The fans were past the shit. You could just fucking dump this scene and just had it be like whatever. But no, you would have a dumbass idea because you had to realize that like while you cast the show, that Josh Radnor and Kobe Smulders are amazing together, and you fuckers realize, oh, we have a great fucking fuck you. Woo! You had to ruin everything. It's this dumbass idea where you're like, oh, we're so brilliant. Fuck you. Nobody wanted that. We were all past that, but you. You must have been so horrible to work with that last season. Your dumbass idea. Sometimes your art, when you make your art, is no longer your art when you put it out there into the world. I bet nobody wanted their name on that series finale, you fuckers. Ah! Hey, Adam, can you, while I calm myself down to continue this play, can you play some Carla Ray commercials while I calm down and get some water in me? Thank you.
Hey, Ray, look at this. Wall-to-wall entertainment. You want entertainment, Carl? I'll give you entertainment. Carl, I'm a maniac! Maniac! No argument here. Let's see their entertainment do this. Whoa, wait. I don't want to see anything do that.
At Blockbuster, the hottest new releases are guaranteed on DVD, so you'll always find the entertainment you want.
That's it, Carl! Shake what your mama gave you!
Make it a Blockbuster night.
Ray, check this out. New release is guaranteed in stock. That means I'll have the movie. Kung Fu. Now! Did you just whack me with a carrot? Ninja mice.
At Blockbuster, the hottest new releases are guaranteed on DVD, so you'll always find your favorite movies.
Off me, you little varmints!
Make it a Blockbuster night.
Man, I love those commercials. Man, Ninja Mice is like the scariest thing in the world, right? All right, so remember that store that I mentioned to you in Miami? Well, I transferred there for a few weeks during winter break one year, and let me tell you something. I can't believe what I'm about to say, but that weird youthful energy of my Blockbuster in college was not there in the suburban big city one in Miami that I was raised in. I was 20 working next to the 15 years younger than the next youngest employee. And they all seemed to hate me. And they did not want to be there, which to a naive 20-year-old Mark was insane. Like, what kind of person does not want to be at Blockbuster? Like, the smell, the content, the vibe, everything. And the level of meh from the team was baffling to me. I was flabbergasted by the fact that they call every guest a customer, which is something you don't really do in customer service. And the level of meh was astounding. And like every corner, there'd be a cardboard box that was just outside of a guest-facing area. And There, it felt like a sad office job, to put it mildly. And I remember there was one night when the lady I was working with, let's call her Karen. Well, it was New Year's Day, and she was so determined not to talk to me that I decided that I should read box covers as it was more inviting than talking to Karen. Needless to say, it was a very long day on top of a very short time of working at my local store. I was so well known in Palatka as Blockbuster guy that it wound up turning up, whether I was at Walmart, Chili's, just hanging around town, everywhere I would go, someone would say, "Hey, ain't you Blockbuster guy?" This all boiled to a hilarious crescendo around Halloween on my last year at Florida School of the Arts. My friends and I would make a haunted house at Ravine Garden State Park, which is a glorious hole in the ground surrounded by trees. The year before, we helped with the haunted hayride, and it went really well. And the last year there, they gave us the community building to build whatever we wanted. And I was down a long, narrow hallway that was covered in concrete with a shovel. And the idea was I would make sparks and like bang the wall, make a lot of noise. Like I was a slasher killer in a horror movie. Very fun, very scary. Well, the last day on the 3-day haunt, I'm in my position, and I hear a group coming, and I get ready, and I'm ready. And then the door opens, and the locals come out, and I growl, and I hit the wall, and then they say, "Hey, ain't it Blockbuster guy?" I don't break character as they all realize I am indeed Blockbuster guy. "Hey, Blockbuster guy. Hey, Blockbuster guy. Blockbuster guy." Later that night, things were going crazy. Like the walls were falling. Like the haunted house was actually falling apart, and the walls were falling down. I actually saved my crush from a wall that was falling. Well, at the end of the haunted house at night, me and her went back to my place. Had a couple of drinks, and watched Pixar's Cars, and kissed. And it was truly an amazing moment for my life. Then she told me she's a lesbian, and I felt like a dodo with a dumbass nickname. So Blockbuster guy had a very unique day that day that he will never forget. My time was running out of flow arts. Like I decided to quit Blockbuster as I was kind of burnt out on the company. At this point, I want to make sure I got out to college quick. And I was on my way to University of Florida and then New York, and I left my Blockbuster, and Carlos was sad, and my best friend Vince was sadder, and Ronnie was happy to have his title back. Katie offered me a fried corn nugget, which is one of the happiest memories there. My time was at end at Blockbuster, and I said bye to everyone, and I visited the one by UF often, but mainly focused on like renting movies and stuff like that, and to get out of Gainesville as soon as I could. Around this time, I visited my parents' house and noticed that half of the amazing big store was gone. At this point, Netflix was taking off, and Redbox was as popular as it was going to be. And then eventually that half fully went away. And soon more and more Blockbusters would disappear. And I remember when I moved to New York, I found my local store in Astoria very, very fast. And then shortly after, they put up their closing notice. Eventually, all my Blockbusters were gone, and all I had were memories. You know, I look back at my time at Blockbuster both as an employee and as a patron in a pretty good way. The job was a job. It was the best paid job I ever had. Actually, it was honestly like the worst paid job I ever had, but I was happy, which is something that's always been important. My parents have always told me, "Mark, do things that make you happy." And at my point in my life, in my maturity, this is what I needed to make me happy. And as a patron, I loved it. I really did. Like I love that I could stumble onto new films and filmmakers and give a chance for me to be wowed by them. And I still can do that, of course, like Netflix, Hulu, and other streaming services. But there's a difference. Like going into your car, driving down to your local store, walking in, saying hi to the cashier, perusing the aisles, choosing your film, going to the cashier, paying for your film, going home, putting in the DVD and finding out that Meet the Spartans is terrible. Or just finding how deep your love of Mel Brooks could go. My big thing will always be, how can I be happy? And make people I care about happy. Short movies are an escape for me and for so many other people, especially right now. But I'm okay with that. Like, I'm actually pretty good with that. Like, I haven't had the same life as many of my friends and people I know, but I've made my own path. And that's what makes me who I am. And where am I? I now happily, technically, work for the Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas in Brooklyn, an amazing dine-in movie theater that is all about showing amazing, badass movies, great beer, and giving you a great experience. And since we are unique with what we show, I still can recommend movies.
Hey,
Yeah?
aren't you that guy that works at Alamo Drafthouse?
Yeah, but I'm finishing up the show right now. We can talk after. My contact stuff's really easy.
Sorry, Alamo guy.
Thank you guys so much for coming out today. This really means a lot to me. This is our third time we've done this online. First time with StreamYard. I think it went pretty well. Sorry about the weird technical stuff. Every performance of the show is dedicated to Vince Baltimore. I mentioned him 3 times in the show. He was a great guy and would have loved to see the show. I do believe he chooses to see this from the other planes out there. As you're probably definitely aware, this is thank you so much for donating to see the show. FRIGID New York is a company that I love so much and have debuted 4 of my plays there. This play will be having a run there after this whole thing is over. If you guys want to Venmo them any extra money or whatever, or support them in any other ways, like their Patreon's amazing. Like I had like a Zoom happy hour with them last night, and maybe the happiest person ever. Just a lot of love and amazing people out there. Like, I think people are forgetting how important the arts are in this time with all this, and we can't forget that. Like, I know I'm furloughed, and I know a lot of people are too, and arts are what's keeping me sane. And organizations like FRIGID New York have always looked out for the good indie artists out there, and I'm so thankful for their existence, and I don't know what I would do without them. So thank you guys so much for coming out today. If you want to donate them, you see the banner down there. Thank you so much to Adam Sherwin, who's done this like 3.4 miles away. Emily Godfrey, who's the representative from FRIGID. She's in Long Island. I'm imagining at least 20 miles away from where I am right now. Thank you so much for you guys for attending on your afternoon here on a Saturday. I apologize again for tech stuff, but I mean, we were able to share art, which is pretty freaking cool. Thank you so much, guys.